What was the most difficult part about writing this book?
Solve one problem at a time. The first problem isn't usually excuses. The first problem is usually self-love. There he is. He's got it.
What's up, Evan?
I've got it. All good, man. How are you?
Good. I feel like I'm on a blind date. Good to finally meet you.
It's happening. You've been on so many of my chats and spreading so much love in the community. It's awesome, man. I appreciate you.
So I just want to thank you, first of all, for, I know a lot of effort went into here and a lot of years of, trying to give people direction and, and then you distilled it down to this so everyone else can kind of follow a similar path, so
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And it helped me right away, pretty much.
Okay.
Because when I first started following you, my Instagram handle was Book Saved My Ass. Okay? And then I switched it, like, soon after I started reading to Underdog Books because I wanted to really figure out who I want to serve.
I remember Book Save My Ass. Yeah, I remember that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Underdog Book is better. I like it.
Right. So, what was the most difficult part about writing this book?
First off is when I decided to write it, I was in the middle of my tour and I didn't have time to write a book. I mean, I'm on tour every fourth day I'm speaking. And so that cuts into my productivity. Every fourth day I'm also traveling the city with my wife to kind of explore because she's a foodie and wants to see the local stuff. So I'm way behind on my business. Everything is just going breakneck speed. And I'm like, everybody wants a piece of me for something in my team because I'm now taking 2 days out of every 4 where I'm basically offline, but before I was working every day. And I just decided I have to write this book. I was doing a tour of 90 days, 23 cities. And I was talking about something else on the tour, and it kept coming. The most common question was people figuring out, like, I don't know what to do. What's my purpose? What's my passion? How do I find some meaning and fulfillment in my life? I'm like, oh, that's not that hard. You don't have to. Like, right. Like, oh, just do this process. Who I have.
Yeah.
And I think people are used to either you have to spend a ton of money on some coach or years of meditating or journaling. It's like, no. Okay, hold on. Just do this. Yeah. And I would take them and ask them, okay, what's your who? And I would go through this process with them. And then, people are crying and people are maybe for the first time having some clarity in their life. And then the next question would be like, hey, can you do me? Pick me, do me, the same thing. It's like, but I'm here to talk about this other stuff. But that's all people wanted to talk about. So we made it about that. And then that happened in city after city after city. It wasn't just some one-off, Columbus. It was every city that started happening to. So about the third of the way through the tour, I'm like, I just need to put this into a book. This is crazy. And so I decided at a coffee shop I forget what city it was in. I think it was Indianapolis. And I just started writing the book, and then that's it. And quickly after, just pounded out the pages. Right.
Did it get to the point where you knew you should write it, but you're like, damn it, that's going to take it takes a lot of focused energy, but then at some point you're just like that internal nudge, that just won't leave you alone. Write the book. Was it like that for you?
Not anymore. Like I've kind of beat that out of me. Right. I don't think that way anymore. Yeah. Like if I'm pumped for something, I don't look at all the reasons why it's not going to work and just focus on the one why it will. There were so many reasons why I shouldn't do it. Everybody was angry at me. Like my team was angry at me. My agent was angry at me. Nobody wanted me to write this book. I had too many other priorities and commitments at the time, but didn't matter. It's like, sorry guys, I have to write this.
Right.
My publisher didn't pick up the book. My first publisher, I already had Penguin Random House as my publisher. And they're like, no, we don't want that book. So I don't have a publisher lined up, right? I had nothing. It doesn't matter, guys. It doesn't matter. I'm writing this book. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I finished writing it while I broke my neck on my tour. I had a concussion. I'm still writing my book because it had to get out. So that maybe Evan from 10 years ago would have found other excuses or reasons why not to do it. But man, when you get, I see those things as a gift, as a blessing. And when you get possessed by an idea, you have to see it through. while you still have the opportunity to strike, and not find all the reasons why you're not going to win.
Right. And it's more like that idea had you and won't let you go.
Yeah.
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 So can I tell you a couple of my favorite parts of the book?
Yeah. Let's hear it.
All right. Since it's your work, I'm sure you know which parts are good, but I'll tell you what, personally. Okay.
I like all of it, dude. I really like every word, so I like all of it.
Yeah.
But
all right.
Especially, I love this because you read a lot of books too. So it's great to see, readers, what they love most. So sorry, go ahead.
All right. So two things that resonated with me most was, one, the tree concept, right? Your purpose is somewhere within your pain. And then actually I had one or two moments that completely changed my life. I just didn't know it because I was 10 years old at the time. And then the other part is everything you love is connected, right? Like your 5 questions about, like, who's your favorite teacher? What's your favorite movie? Etc. It just kept coming back to, it was almost like a smack in the face. Like, what the hell are you doing, Mike? Trying to please everybody. Find that one core value and kind of go with it,
Yep.
And my whole life has kind of been about taking pain and try to turn it into something good, Do you have a minute? I'll tell you about one moment. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of information for a first date, All right. So I was 10 years old and I grew up in a really crazy environment. My mom had drug addiction problems and, verbally, mentally, physically abusive. And at one point, me and my little brother were living in a park, just me and him, because my mom disappeared. And it was within that week or so that changed my life, but I didn't know it because we were hanging out with this old homeless guy. He didn't really say much, but we were going to the dumpster and kind of fishing food out because we were little tiny kids. We could go in the hole and get some food that expired that morning, right? And then what happened was I came back one day and the dumpster's locked. They welded it shut. And I told the guy, who didn't really say much, I said, I can't do it. And then there's like a silence. He's like, what? You can't do what? I said, I can't get the food. And then he didn't say anything. And then out of nowhere, he's just like, don't you ever say that. And I'm like, I'm 10 years old. I'm like, don't say what? He's like, don't say you can't do it. And he's like, you want to know why I'm homeless? And I'm 10, right? So I'm like, because you don't have a place to live? You don't have a home? He's like, no. I'm like, all right. He's like, because I chose drug and alcohol over my wife and my business. And as soon as I'm done feeling sorry for myself, I'm going to get them all back. And I was like, just scared because he's like screaming at me. I'm a little helpless kid. So I'm like, I'm going to get the hell out of here. I never thought about him again. And then I was 23, very insecure, low self-esteem, in a sales job. I'm about to get fired. And if I don't get fired, I'm actually about to go to jail for a fight I got into a few years earlier. So I think about committing suicide. And I'm standing on the railroad tracks. The train's coming at me. It's getting closer and closer, just loud, so loud you can just feel it in your body. And then for some reason I stepped off, No, and I just moved on with life. I'm like, okay. And then I started beating myself up. All right, you can't do anything right. You can't even, go through with killing yourself, etc. So I know I'm about to get fired. I leave work. And I'm thinking, this is 13, 14 years later from that conversation. I'm thinking, it's better that I quit so I don't have to get fired. There's no way a shy, insecure kid can get good at sales. So then I'm going home, I'm driving home, and I'm like just depressed, going through these cycles. And then I'm sitting there, no radio or nothing, and I hear, don't you ever say that.
Wow.
And I was like what? I'm like, that is weird. I've never thought about that guy again in my life. And then on the way home that day, so I cheated all the way through high school. I graduated like 1.8, 1.9 GPA. On that way home, for some reason, I was pulled into a bookstore. And I bought my first book. And things started getting better. And that's why the power of your book, you know, you don't know how you're touching people, right? You put words on a page, you become a mentor. Because that first book I ever read, there's a guy in there telling me things I've never heard before.
Yep.
You're good enough. You're smart enough. Set goals. Be persistent. I believe in you. And I've been addicted to books ever since, you know? So a crazy moment like that, I just need to thank you so much for putting a book out there, because you don't know how it's going to, you might save someone's life 10 years from now, you know?
That's a wild story, dude. Thank you for sharing, man. That's a great first date. I love it.
Don't try to kiss me.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why, I mean, it's called Built to Serve, and your story is going to touch so many people too. I know you're kind of early at what you're doing and getting this stuff built up, but yeah, you keep doing what you're doing. You look 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line, 10 years, all the people who you're going to infect with reading, with the message, right?
Yeah.
And it's just the spark. All people need is that little spark, that first little push. You know, people will give you a ton of credit. It's like, hey, man, all I did was give you a push. You went off and that. You actually did all the reading, right? That old guy, homeless guy, just gave you a little bit of a push.
Yeah.
13, 14 years later, you heard for some reason that brought back in, and you walked into the bookstore.
Yeah.
I'm pumped. I'm pumped to see everything you're going to make, man. And I mean, I already feel the heart you've got and the desire to help others, and it's just going to be amazing.
Mm-hmm. And then, well, thank you, first of all. But how do you kind of, so when you're coaching someone, you're bringing through this process, right?
Yeah.
I have a hard time, like, kind of taking excuses from people, you know? Like, if I sense that's an excuse. That's not going to help you.
Yeah.
Or a false belief. So how do you handle a situation like that?
You have to be able to throw multiple pitches.
Mm.
See, because of where you come from, and because you don't, you look at somebody else's problem and it's like, dude, you know what I went through? Like, it's what people freak out about is nothing compared to what you've been through, right? So I could see you as being very, direct to the point. You want to get results. You're gonna no BS. You're gonna cut through, and you throw a mean fastball.
That's all I got.
Yeah, but that's all you got, right? but so, like, you could throw your 150 mile an hour fastball, and that's gonna super resonate with some people. Some people who love being yelled at. Some people who need to be called out. No, like, some people, they only can work out if there's a drill sergeant pounding them in. For some people, that's the only way they respond. They need somebody tougher than them yelling at them in their face to move and take action, right? Other people, though, they don't respond to a fastball. They need the curveball. They need the changeup. They need the off-speed pitch. Mm-hmm. And that's where that's the skill set to learn, right? Like, some people, before they can get the push, they need a hug.
Right.
They can't handle it because they're so low on themselves that being yelled at is going to make it worse. Mm-hmm. For now, maybe in the future it's going to be the thing, but they're not ready for the yell. They're not ready for the hard push yet.
Right.
So learning to develop the skill. There's somebody that reminds me so much of you. I had a guy come to my Thought Leadership Academy. He's from Detroit. Same kind of story in the background and upbringing. And at the dinner, he said, "Hey, Evan, how do you play the game, man? How do you play this game? Like, what game? Like, you're schmoozing people and you're talking to people and you're pushing them, but you're not pushing everybody." And I told him almost the same thing. It's like, you're really good at one thing. I'm not schmoozing anybody. I'm just giving people what they need, right? Yeah. I hate schmoozing. I hate small talking. I like to say I'm wearing people's skin. I could be a hard ass. Like, talk to people who are close to me. Yeah. And you'll see a lot of hard love thrown their way. I'm a no BS, no excuse kind of guy. The closer you get to me, the less I'm gonna do. Like, if we're working together and you're not posting, and I know that you like a fastball, I can dish it. I'll give you the fastball, right? And you'll love it. You'll love the fastball to the face, right? Because you respond well to it. But at the beginning, you're not quite sure how people are going to react to things, and so you take it easy. You kind of feel them out to see what they need. And some people they just need a hug. Some people just need to be told they're good enough. Some people, it's not that here's the thing, like, it's not that you're accepting their excuses. You just got to think chess. You're playing like a few moves ahead. You want them to jump. and all they can do is take a little tiny step.
Yeah.
And so in this business of being able to coach people and help people get the result that they want, it's understanding what they need. And so the best way to do it that I can think of is just imagine wearing their skin or putting yourself in their shoes and having empathy for where they're at. And if they need the fastball, then you give it to them. But if they need the off-speed pitch hug, you give it to them.
Right. So kind of go back into a place in my life where I felt like I wasn't good enough maybe, and try to relate to that. Or like when I took zero responsibility for anything in my life, you know, back in those days, I actually feel sorry for that old me because I blamed everybody else for my life instead of like going internal and saying, hey, what can I do? You know?
Well, here's the thing, like that old guy, the old you, like 23-year-old you who's standing on the train tracks doesn't want 2020 you yelling at his face saying, stop making excuses for your pathetic life, mister.
Right.
Like, shut the hell up. I don't want to talk to you.
Let the train hit you.
Yeah, but maybe you actually just let the train hit you now just to spite this guy who's yelling at you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But you used to be that guy. All the people thought it's partly why you're so upset about it, because you used to be the guy with all the excuses.
Right.
And you stomped that guy out of your life. And so now you want to stomp it out of other people's lives faster. And that's a noble ambition and goal. But they may not be ready to go as fast as you want them to go. You always want them to go faster. I always want people to go faster too.
Yeah.
So you used to be that guy who was on the train tracks, you know, who was homeless at 10 and all this stuff. So thinking back to how he used to be and now having a little bit of empathy for their situation, it doesn't mean letting them off the hook for everything. It doesn't mean letting them blame everybody and their circumstances, but you solve one problem at a time.
Yeah.
The first problem isn't usually excuses. The first problem is usually self-love. So you're attacking excuses isn't going to solve the problem. You need to build up self-love first, and then you can go off and attack the excuses.
Right. Interesting.
But in your head, you're thinking like, I'm letting them off the hook. I'm letting them run this record. You're not. Yeah. It doesn't mean you accept it. It doesn't mean, I agree with you. You're not saying, yes, that's right. You're bypassing it to cut to the problem at the moment, which is just a lack of self-love and self-worth.
Right.
So you're just filing it away. You're filing it away. We're going to come back to that.
Right.
Don't worry. The fastball's coming. We're just setting them up. We'll set you up.
Right. Yeah. And then when it's 3-2?
It's coming.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Let me ask you one more thing specifically about the book, okay?
Okay.
So you got a piece in here about 10-year chunking, right? As an exercise.
Yeah.
0 to 19, 19 to whatever, 29, etc. Is that something you put yourself through as well in the early days, or something you still reflect on, or how's that?
So the purpose of that is to help people find their most painful moment. So I see your purpose comes to your pain. We kind of talked about it. That's your why. Whatever you went through and struggled with is the thing that you want to help other people go through, right? You represent hope to them. Some people can instantly figure out the most painful moment. Other people have a hard time doing it. The 10-year chunking isn't something I did myself, but it's a tool I developed as I started helping other people. It's hard because this book is a result of a lot of coaching and helping people over 2 decades, right? So what I did myself may not be the best example because I fumbled my way through things and did a bunch of stuff that didn't work.
Right.
I'm now trying to teach what I know.
So this is the benefit of your hindsight.
Yeah, exactly. And all of the help that I've taken people through. So the 10-year chunking, like, hey, at 10 years old, I had this thing. And then at 23 years old, I wanted to kill myself. You can work through that exercise a lot faster and come down to the problem of what you went through. And now you want to fight for the underdogs.
Right.
If that process might be a little faster, you might also be a lot more self-aware than most people.
Right. Like one of my words in my credo is fight. Just stay in the fight. I mean, it's going to suck, but
of course, dude.
Take your beating, but don't quit.
And why I do the 10-year chunking is because the patterns will continue to happen over and over and over again. It'll show up in different ways in your life. Being that underdog and coming up with excuses is going to show up in relationships. It's going to show up in every job you have. It's going to show up in every dealing you have. It's going to keep showing up constantly. So, and making people look at their life. Some people have a hard time looking at their whole life, and forcing them to split it up into 10-year chunks. They find the most painful moments, and then they say, holy Christ, the 3 most painful moments I had all relate to the same thing.
Right.
And it's like the first time they've even drawn the lines and connected them together and realized, if I don't stop this, then the next 7 decades of my life is going to be the same patterns repeating over and over and over again.
Right. You probably could guess my favorite movie.
There's so many underdog stories, dude. Rocky, what do you got?
Yeah, exactly. Rocky.
Yeah, and Butt Kiss is your logo Butt Kiss?
No, my logo is my dog.
Okay.
And she
they're
she actually
similar.
exactly. She actually got rejected by a bunch of people in the because she has one blue eye and one brown eye. And people didn't want that.
The
so I was like,
underdog,
oh,
dude.
I'm like, she knows what it's like to be rejected.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm putting her on I'm putting her right here.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. And Butkus, he sold for what, $300? I don't know the full story. Is it $300, something like that? I mean, he was homeless. He was trying to sell his movie script to Stallone for Rocky, and he sold it outside of a grocery store for a couple $100. I forget how much it was.
It was cheap, and I know he paid like 15,000% to get it back.
More, yeah. Like he eventually got a deal, and he went back to find the guy, and he bought it back for like $10,000 or something. He sold it a couple weeks earlier for $300 and bought it back for $10,000. And the dog is in the movie. Like the dog in the movie is his dog.
Right. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
anyway,
and
it's
like,
a crazy story.
What I love about that story is, well, I watched your video on it, but what I love about it is that he just made a decision of what he's going to do.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is what is going to happen. And it doesn't matter how long or what it takes. His wife's leaving him, right? And he just keeps going on with his art. He's like, this is my who. I'm going to just figure this out. And it's just like, he stayed in the fight, you know? And he still does it. That's one thing I noticed, like you, when you sold your first company, you could have done something different, right? You don't have to make that first awkward video. But you're like, this is what I believe in. So I'm just going to fight through this awkwardness until I can just do IG Live with your boy here.
There, we're doing it. It's happening.
You know? You're probably nervous because you're on my...
That's it. I mean, what's he going to ask me? You know, am I wearing the right thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but and then but it also then turns into joy, right? Like, this is fun for me. The day it gets to that, like, oh, come on, another IG Live? I'm out. I'm out. I'm doing something else.
Yeah. So being introverted, how often do you have to refresh after these? You got a ritual?
No, man. I need to get up. I need it for the first one. That's why I pack all of my Thursdays full of this. Because I carry, this is an energy from my first one, from whatever in the morning all the way through.
Right.
I don't, this doesn't actually drain me. If we're talking about meaningful stuff, it doesn't drain me. If we're talking about the weather or something stupid for me, then yeah, that's going to drain me in 5 seconds. But I just need to get, my biggest fear is disappointing people. So I just need to get the first one out of the way. And then the rest of the day, I'm great. Like, you're giving me energy. You're not taking energy, which sounds weird as an introvert, but this gives me energy more than takes it away. Whatever I go to my next call, I'm taking your energy with me. So you've given it to me, which again sounds super weird as an introvert, but there's only certain topics. If we're talking entrepreneurship, service, League of Legends, salsa dancing, that's it. Anything else is like, you want to talk about, when my wife wants to talk about plants, oh my gosh, like I have to stay focused.
Oh my God, never want to talk to you.
I'm out. Like, I'm out ASAP, right?
Yeah.
Almost any other topic, I'm out.
Yeah.
But when you find the connection, like the same thing for you, if you're helping somebody who you see as an underdog and you know that the conversation is like lighting them up a little bit, and now they see a little bit of hope, somebody who might have been suicidal or somebody who didn't believe in themselves, and now talking to you makes them feel like, you know what? He could do it. Maybe I can too. That's not gonna sap your energy, man. That's gonna tap your energy. You're gonna be fired. That's gonna fuel you for the rest of the week. You're gonna love it so much.
Yeah, I have a ritual where if I know if something is giving me all the signs in the bookstore that this person's an underdog, I'll go buy one of my favorite books and just set it on the table in front of them and say, the receipt's in there. This might be a little weird, but I wish you well. I'm out of here.
Time to gift some of these now.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, I gotta hop on another call, but I appreciate you, man. So pumped for everything you're doing, and thank you for doing it, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate your time.
All right, much love.
If you want to see another awesome one-on-one I did with an entrepreneur just like you, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.